2025. You're just in time for the morning drift. My name is Simba Elijah Charles Kiage. Thank you very much for choosing Lookup TV as your information partner this morning. We are online at Lookup TV across all your social media platforms, and actually we are also live across all those social media platforms. So the best you can do then, as you start your day, as you go to work today, we would enjoy if you are part of our conversations this morning, and there are proper conversations that we're going to have across what is going on across the country this morning. But most importantly, we're going to look at the elections that we are facing tomorrow. That is the 27th of November 2025. The country is going into a by-election mode, and it's an election that has been viewed as a precursor to the 2027 general elections. The question that I'm asking this morning is 2027 already shaping up, going by the campaigns that we've already seen across the country as different parties, and we do know who they are: UDA, DCP, Wiper, Jubilee, as they go into that election. So if indeed their candidates win, is this 2027 shaping up? Is it true to say that if UDA sweeps this by-elections, if DCP sweeps this by-elections, that is going to be the trend for 2027? Is it so? You can talk to us at Lookup TV across all your social media platforms. What we do know is that there are parties that are now getting ready to go into that by-election. Now, for us this morning, we're going to look at the youthful representation. We do know that Kasipul constituency is heavily represented by ODM, and right there we do have Jared Oluoch, who's one youthful candidate, strong local grassroots networks. We do have Evelyn Ogendo, who's also a young candidate, positioned as a fresh face reformist. We do have Elkanah Moses, who's youth leaning, popular among the first-time voters. And the party messaging across ODM has been heavily leaned on generational renewal and community-driven leadership. We do have Boyd Were, also from Kasipul as well. UDA also has openly framed the Kasipul race as a test of its new ground strategy in a traditional oppositional areas. Kasipul constituency. Now the UDA candidates that have been cleared include Thomas Oganda, who's a youthful candidate active in local economic groups. We have George Were, who's a young political mobilizer with a strong online presence. We do have also Daniel Otieno, who's a youth candidate pushing development messaging. Now, UDA messaging this weekend has been heavily painted the race as breaking political monopolies and giving new leaders a chance in those areas as well. Now, other parties with candidates include MDG Brian Odhiambo, who's marketed as an alternative youth voice. We do have Kanu also getting represented by Samuel Ochieng, who's a younger candidate attempting a return of the party in Homa Bay politics. Independent candidates include several under 35 aspirants, including Peter Umenga, Cynthia Achieng. Now, these independents are running on anti-establishment, clean politics messaging. Now, let's look at what we'll say this weekend, especially from the ground as pertains these elections. Now, we have leaders pushed the protect the party message narrative in Kasipul, that is ODM, and Wino Odinga, a local leader, also urged the local youth leagues framing the race as youth validation moment, and messaging is linked heavily on unity and continuity. Now, under the UDA camps, this is a messaging that we've seen Kenya Kwanza leaders framed the race as a chance for new energy in a region tired of old politics. Now, youth candidates were branded as agents of development and economic change. William Ruto, aligned members of parliament, emphasized breaking ODM dominance, and independent and minor parties. Also, if you look at the messaging, it has been on voter fatigue with big party tribalism, pushed a narrative of youth freedom and party control, and a heavy emphasis then on transparency, accountability, and local solutions. Now that is just a summary of what campaigns have been. We do have trending issues around this area that we're going to talk about this morning. I'll be showing you what that is. But for me now, it's just to jump into your dailies this morning and see exactly what it is then that you're waking up to this morning on your dailies. And as usual, we're going to jump into the Daily Nation. Let's see exactly what they have this morning on the Daily Nation. The big headline here is how IEBC is now facing a big test in the by-elections. They're calling them here the mini polls. Now, IEBC chairperson, that is Erastus Ethekon, that's what he's saying, that the IEBC does not take instructions from any individual or political actor or extreme interest, that the Commission remains committed to upholding Constitution and delivering a credible process. That is what the chair is saying this morning. Now, this is Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka saying that this is a new IEBC team, and we all know how it came into office. It is the lowest rated public institution when it comes to trust by the public. So the chairman and his commission have a huge responsibility. If you do not get this one right, Kenyans will have confidence, will not have confidence in you to manage the elections in 2027. That's according to Kalonzo Musyoka this morning. Now let's take a look at what the story is about. It's a make or break story then, situation for the IEBC. Now the Electoral Commission says it is all set to deliver credible by-elections tomorrow, which many Kenyans will be watching with an eye on 2027. Will the new IEBC chairperson, Erastus Ethekon, and his team steer the hotly contested polls in a free, fair, and transparent manner? Will the conduct restore confidence in the Commission? That story has been covered on page 4 and 5 of the Daily Nation. That's a question that we're also asking you this morning. Are the by-elections a precursor to what we're going to see in 2027? And that's the story that we cover heavily this morning then for you. And let's then jump into the other stories here. Now, Fuge warns of debt distress amid ambitious borrowing, reduced appetite for loans, urges CBK boss. That is page 10. So story here on how ousted by MCS for third time, Nyaribo's fate lies in Senate again. That is my governor. Yeah. For a third time. I mean, unatoka tu. You know? If you do remember, it's the same fate that Kawira Mwangaza faced until she was kicked out of office. A story has been covered on page 7. I'm going to read it. There's a story here on Raila Amolo Odinga's sister dying in the city, plunging the family into mourning again. Talk about when it rains. I mean, you know, it pours heavily in that family. And that story has been covered on page 10. The Jaramogi Oginga Odinga family has once again been thrown into mourning following the death of Berila Chieng, Raila Odinga's sister in Nairobi. Her demise comes just a month after the death of the opposition leader, Kisumu Member Parliament Ruth Odinga, yesterday confirmed that her sister died at Nairobi West Hospital. Despite her relatives' privacy, family members described Beryl as warm, steady, and deeply devoted to her children and her siblings. Funeral arrangements are expected to be announced in the coming days. Our story has been covered on page 10 as well. I mean, it's not good that a family keeps on facing this kind of transitions, but you know what I say? When it comes, you face it, and you face it knowing that each and every one of us is in that line, just that time has not arrived. You know, story here on page 2. 6 in 10 school children struggle with reading and math. Yeah, 6 in 10. That's huge, man. So what are we teaching then in this schools? That they cannot read a simple sentence or solve basic math problems. That's not good. Now, these findings were revealed in a new report by the People's Action for Learning Network that measured learning outcomes among 89,870 children aged 5 to 16 years across 12 countries. Results are major concern for majority of the countries that this research was done in. And that means that the education sector really has to figure itself out. 6 out of 10, that's a big number. Now, in Kenya, they conducted this survey among 6,669 students. Now, 43% of 10-year-olds in Kenya who meet benchmark compared to Tanzania, 33%, and Uganda, 4%. Hey, Uganda is not good. All right, well, we're gonna leave it there, man. Maybe you should try this. If you have a kid, I don't have kids myself, but if you have a kid, can you try and give them simple arithmetic and see if they know what they're doing? Yeah. And if they don't, then change their school immediately. There's a big number here, 6 out of 10. That's a huge number. Ooh, that's it. Now, let's cross over then to the Standard this morning. And the story is quite interesting. It's talking about how these two gentlemen, not even two gentlemen, those are 5 gentlemen, are fighting for survival. Now, for the politicians, Ruto has quietly tasked with securing Mount Kenya, Western, and the Pastoral Belt. Tomorrow's polls are unforgiving. Victory strengthens their bargaining power. Heading into cabinet reshuffles, party realignments, and coalition talks. Defeat, however, will expose them as liabilities, leaders who can't shift votes, can't whip local loyalties, and can't deliver when it matters. In a government that measures value in raw numbers, failing at home is political suicide. Where? Below Kenya wanasema, you know? All right. Now, who are these gentlemen? That is Kithure Kindiki, Moses Wetangula, Amason Kingi, that is Hassan Ali Joho, and Musalia Mudavadi. But you wonder why Hassan Joho will be here, because he's a CS. And according to the Kenyan Constitution, a CS is not supposed to actively involve themselves in politics. So I don't know what the Standard have gotten it wrong, because Joho cannot campaign as it were. Yeah? There it is, man. But as it stands, they are here and they're fighting for that political survival according to the Standard. Do you agree? You can talk to us at Lookup TV across all your social media platforms. And this story, by the way, is also what we're talking about this morning, asking if indeed the by-elections are going to be a precursor to the 2027 elections. So if they do not win, does that mean that UDA's dominance or Ruto's dominance then is also going to be questioned as we head into the 2027 general elections? Today being the 26th of November 2025, just 5 days to end this month. And for those who are counting, then that means that we are getting closer and closer to the Christmas celebrations for those people who believe in them. Good. As it stands then, let's look at your trends this morning. And I see a lot. So let me just make it clear. Manchester United, we're not going to talk about you this morning. I mean, it's a Monday. And I keep on saying, you're the only team that plays from weekend to weekend. You had 8 days to rest. Actually, 16 days. Rest of us don't get that many of rest days. Yeah? So today, Arsenal is playing. Yesterday, Chelsea played. You guys are sleeping. You're going to wait for the weekend. Actually, not even the weekend, the week to play, because you're playing again after what? 8 days. And the rest of us are getting 2 days, and we still perform. But how can you not beat Everton? So we're not talking about you this morning. I'm sorry, we don't have time for that. Let me just look at the major trends this morning. Of course, I know we're going to talk about what we're saying this morning. But most importantly, let's look at what is trending in the country, as it were. Now, there's a warning. The videos trending of young men and women were shooting their social media content right in the middle of the road. I'll tell you what it is. Let's take a look at this clip of a young man who was hit by a bus in the middle of the road right there in Kenya, because then they decided to shoot their content in the middle of the road. I don't know whether we have it. You can confirm to me, Eddie. If we have it, then we can look at it. There it is. There it is. Look at that. I do not know. I do not know why that would happen just because you want to shoot content. It's stupid content. It's actually stupid. It's stupid content. And we're supposed to be remorseful. And we do not know the fate. It's not been confirmed whether this gentleman actually made it out of this place alive. But then it's stupid. That's the only thing I can say. That, listen, I'm not a judge of the content that people have on TikTok, but let's agree. There's what is proper content and there's what is stupid content. And I've seen a lot of stupid content online. I do not know whether it's okay for me to say categories of stupid content, but I will say, you see this part of it, this is stupid content. Reenacted content online where you're scaring people and making people run probably in the middle of the road. It's also stupid content. Ladies, if you're just online selling yourself and just turning around in cute outfits, that's still stupid content. I do not know where I can categorize this. So please kindly stop. You can't go in the middle of the road and expect that the drivers who are busy going around by their day are going to treat you like a vehicle. And if you look at this video, I mean, that bus driver couldn't do anything because this guy just immediately decided to swerve to the road. And you can see, he tried to avoid hitting the gentleman. But it's a 2-lane. So he swerves, he hits another vehicle that is carrying more people. So it's better sacrifice. Please do not. This is really stupid this morning. Leroy saying, Nimewachio clip, yeah, that Somali kid being hit by a bus, and all I can say is that it was satisfying. Yes, I mean, probably as an example. Vincent Kirioba, who saying this morning, is a Kenyan. He doesn't deserve that. Not the wise thing to do, but he was just a kid, and we can do better than this. Yes, we can do better than this. I mean, mulifunzwa zile traffic rules. Don't walk in the middle of the road. Look right, left, left again. If the road is clear, then you can cross. So where do we categorize this? Did you ever learn that standing in the middle of the road and shooting content was part of the traffic rules? That it's sad, man. The parents are watching this as well. Yeah. Good. All right, let's cross over to another trend this morning. Now, we do know that the by-elections are getting heated. We're going to watch a clip here that emanated from Malava and then see exactly what it is. I mean, have we gone to these levels of campaigning? It's a good thing we're going to talk about that this morning. And we've been treated with Kenyans being given sweets. Now, this one is on another level. And you can see here, Kenyans that are given mattress. But look at that mattress. How many inches is it? Is it 2 inch, 3 inch? And you can see, so you get given a blanket or a mattress and some money to come your way. And we're actually recording this as Kenyans and putting it online as part of our campaign this is not good. Look at it. And these are branded mattresses as well. So we made sure that we had to brand them and then tell Kenyans that we gave you these mattresses and you'll never forget. So when you're voting tomorrow, you have to vote for us. You know? It is what it is. It's not good. It's a sad state of affairs if in this day and age we are still doing this. You see, government of Kenya, GOK. Oh man, it's a sad reality. All right, let me just read a couple of tweets here this morning that are addressing this one. This is Israel, who's saying, mi kitu inanibamba, nilichange voting station yangu nikaeka kwa hizi places za by election, so leo niko holiday officially. So Israel, are you going to change it back again when we go to the 2027 elections? Yeah? But it's true that if you belong to this constituency, today you would have just told your employer, I'm not coming to work because I've got a democratic duty to go in and vote. So watu hizi constituencies ziko kwa by elections kesho, hamko kazini bwana. Huh? Thank you. All right, I've got Jane this morning who's saying, sad reality that in this day and age, we're still selling sugar, popcorns, and mattresses to ask Kenyans to vote for us instead of selling agenda to Kenyans. Sad reality. Malava constituency should be ashamed. All right, Tom this morning was saying, is this what we call a campaign? We should be ashamed as Kenyans. It is indeed true. We should be ashamed as Kenyans, if indeed this is the state of our campaigns. Good. Let's then look at the last one this morning, and this one is one that is a bit sad because this is concerns the passing on of burial, Raila Amolo Odinga's sister, and this was the last public address that she made. I just want us to listen as we read some of the tweets then that are coming from Kenyans that are condoling also with Raila Amolo Odinga's family. Let's listen.
I'm proud to say I'm the only one amongst my siblings who attended school here in Kenya, university in Kenya. And the introduction of myself, I know I've got a lot of colleagues here. People who went to university, maybe could have been in one class or one or two classes ahead of me. Amongst them, Mama Ida Odinga, who was my colleague in the women's box. We stayed together. I want to recognize James Orengo. I want to recognize Professor Nyang Nyongo as a teacher. I want to recognize many other people here who know me, but I want to say the stage. We were in university together, him as a teacher as well as Anyang. Now I want to say one thing about my brother Raila, Oburu. Those who attended his book launch, I read a poem about him. In our home, Oburu has always been a peacemaker. He's never ever touched me, though he was much older than me.
Those are the images right there of Berila Cheng, the sister to the late Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, who was confirmed dead yesterday at right here in the city. And this is from James Orengo this morning, who was saying, deeply saddened by the passing of Berila Acheng Odinga, the sister to late Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga. My heartfelt condolences go out to her children, the Jaramogi family, and all her friends. May God grant them fortitude and solace during this darkest hour this morning as well. All right, I've got Robert Alai this morning was saying, Pole sana to the Jaramogi Oginga Odinga family for the loss of Beryl Odinga, sister to Baba. Indeed, sad state of affairs really from that family. And she actually did say that she didn't like politics because she didn't want to be in the public eye. And it is what it is this morning. All right, finally then, Obubu Odinga was saying this morning, it is with deep sorrow, yet with a full submission to the will of God, that we announce the sudden passing of Beryl Achieng Odinga, beloved daughter to the late Honorable Jaramogi Oginga Odinga and Mama Ajuma Oginga, devoted mother to Ami Auma Chizi and Tarai, a cherished sister to Senator Obubu Odinga, Right Honorable Raila Odinga, Akinyi Wenwa, and the entire Odinga family. All right, all the way to may her soul find eternal rest. It is what it is, man. Sad state of affairs. All right, those are some of the trends this morning. So let me just mention this in passing because it's not big news, essentially. I see Chelsea trending, and Kenyans want me to talk about Chelsea this morning. Why? Why would I talk about Chelsea? I mean, I don't see it as a big issue. Yes, you won against 10-man Barcelona, so you're not even close to where we are in the Champions League. I mean, when you're talking about Champions League, there are only 3 teams that you can speak of. Last season, if you qualified in the top 8, and that is in the entire competition. All right, if you didn't get to the quarters, then there's no need for us to speak. If you didn't get to the semis, then there's no need for us to speak. All right, and if you don't have a clean sheet this season in the Champions League, you don't make news. So I can only talk about Bayern, Inter, and Arsenal. So the only teams that we can mention. All right, and partly PSG, but PSG no, because Bayern has already disciplined you this season. So only 3 teams deserve that mention: Bayern, Arsenal, and Inter. The rest of you, you're small boys, you mtangoja. All right. So tonight, the biggest game in the entire world of football is happening. That is Arsenal, Bayern. We welcome you to the Emirates Stadium. So we talk about how the big boys are going to play tonight, isn't it? Chelsea hapana bana. Unajua nacheza na watoto wadogo akina Yamal. You want us to mention that this morning? How now? You know? So watch the big boys tonight play. Watch Rice. You know? Watch the likes of Saka, the likes of Timber, you know? The likes of Harry Kane. You know, those are worthy names. Huh? You want me to mention Saka and Garnacho in the same sentence? Jesus. It doesn't make sense. You want me to mention Noah and Sanchez in the same sentence? How now? It doesn't make sense, isn't it? That's it. I've got nothing to say. We take a break. Once we come back, let's then look at the main discussion this morning. We do know that the country is getting ready to the 2027 by-elections. The new IEBC is already said they're going to deliver a credible election, that is tomorrow, for all the constituencies and wards that are voting. The thing is this going to be a precursor to the 2027 general elections? You've seen the headline that the Standard is run this morning, that 3 men, or is it 5, that if they don't deliver a victory, especially in the areas that are highly contested, is Ruto going to look at them and say, you guys can't help me in 2027, so get the hell out? Or the by-elections are nothing to show of what is going to happen in a 2027. Once we come back, I'll be introducing the gentlemen who are joining us in the studio this morning to take us through this conversation. You can be a part of this conversation as well, and look up TV across all your social media platforms. Good morning. See you on the other side of this tiny little break.
I recall the doctor telling me that day, he said, Sarah, I'm sorry about what happened to you, but you see, life happens. You would have to learn to work with your hands. depend on your hands more.
And today, if you're going through anything that you do not understand, just call on this name, Jesus, and he will save you.
I realized I love music when I was about 7 or 8. I used to puff my cheeks and play the 12-bar blues. Like I'd walk around the house doing like.
Why do we need the Holy Spirit?
I mean, if you look at what Jesus said when he was leaving, he said he is going and that he will send the Holy Spirit as our helper.
So God knows everything since the end, from the beginning, has a plan for your life. So to find that plan for your life, you must find God. When you find God, you will know the path for your life.
Taarifa zinapochipuka na kutufikia papa hapa kwenye makao makuu ya chumba cha habari cha runinga ya Look Up, kwenye taifa, kwenye serikali, kwenye bunge, tunajitosa hadi kwenye sauti ya wenyeji ili kupata tu maoni ya wenyeji kuhusu masuala haya yanayochipuka.
Maana hii kitu inaenda kuumiza Mkenya kwa tax.
Hakuna kitu tunafurahia. Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Sisi tunaumia, si ati tunaumia ile ya kiukweli. Juu maisha ni ngumu.
Na bila shaka tunapata maoni yao ili sauti yao ipate kusikika. Na watasema hili, waseme lile, watasema hiki, na waseme kile, almuradi sauti yao ipate taa.
Mambo ya mafuta tena imekuwa ni changamoto zaidi kwa kila mtu wa bodaboda.
Uchumi ikikuwa stable, tunaamini mambo itakuwa sawa sawa.
Kwanza liko na ria wa boda, mama mboga nini. Hao sasa ndio wamefinywa zaidi man.
Mtazamaji, hii ni bunge la wenyeji.
How easy is it for you to forgive someone who has hurt you? How easy is it? What are some tips, a person can apply to improve their public speaking skills?
We all have personality lazy somewhere around us.
In my mind, whenever I'm invited for a public speaking event, I don't like to put a lot of, accessories or too many colors.
What are the major things to look out when choosing a school for a child?
Another cheesy conversation starter is, men do this a lot. Men look familiar. Have we met before?
No. We met it. Nobody is buying that line again.
No, we don't. We don't buy it anymore.
Save a Life is a non-profit organization that has taken the front line in transforming lives in the entire country. So far, we have transformed the life of over 100,000 people through our programs, which include medical support, youth empowerment, street family program, feeding program, and climate change. Join us today as we transform lives. As we always say, service to humanity is service to God. Save a life, transforming lives.
All right, welcome back to the Morning Drift. My name is Simba Elijah Charles Kiage. Thank you very much for making time to join us for our discussion this morning. You can participate by talking to us at Look Up TV across all your social media platforms. In the studio, let me then introduce the gentleman who's joining us for this conversation. We do have Alfred Mumbo, who is the president, Kenya Young Turks. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing good.
Happy to have you around. Also joining us this morning, I'm just waiting for him to walk into the studio. We do have Japheth Ombui, who's the president, Kabila La Vijana. As we wait for him then to walk into the studio, if you can take me back to the standard this morning, because that's where partly our conversation is coming from. If you look at what they're talking about this morning on the Standard, that is the Standard this morning. This headline here that is talking about how these 5 gentlemen are essentially fighting for their survival. And this is one, Hassan Joho, Musalia Mudavadi, Kithure Kindiki. There is one, Moses Wetangula, there is Hassan Joho, and Amason Kingi. Now, indeed, this is coming from the fact that the country is heading into the 27th of November by-elections. And let me just give you a snapshot of those highly contested areas as we do know of it. We do know that Kasipul is one of those areas that ODM has to win. We also do know that Mbeere North is one of those areas that has been heavily contested. There's been seen as a race between one, Kithure Kindiki, and one, Rigathi Gachagua, the former Vice President of the Republic of Kenya. We also do have Malava constituency as well, the western part of this country, that again, UDA has to, in a way, win, because ODM, as we do know, has been one of those popular parties in that region. So the question this morning that we're going to ask, even as we look at young politicians participating in this election, is the 2027 by-election going to be a precursor to the 2027 general elections, or this is just a by-election that won't be foretelling into what is going to happen in the 2027 general election? That's the question. Participate online as well, and Look Up TV across all your social media platforms, because that's the question that we're asking this morning. Let me then bring in Mr. Mumbo into the conversation. That what is going to happen in these by-elections tomorrow might be the patterns that we're going to experience in a 2027, be it the general election, that's the presidential election, gubernatorial seats, and also the constituency seats also in 2027. Do you agree, or this is just a by-election that has got nothing to do with the 2027 general elections?
Yes, thank you so much. I agree big time that it will be a reflection of the 2027 general election, this by-election.
Yes.
Yeah, because looking at quite a number of constituencies where by-election is taking place, let's say for instance Mbeere North, I'll be able to pose a question to you. Do you think that Mbeere North by-election is just by coincidence?
Well, majority of critics are saying, well, it might be a reflection of what both parties need to do to win that region, as opposed to it being what's going to happen in 2027. Is that another side that we got to think as well?
Yes, it will be. Yes, it will be. Look at Malava. Look at Mbeere North. Like, for instance, for me, from where I sit, Mbeere North is just a reflection of 2027 general election in one way or another. We had many constituencies, we had many areas whereby the president would be able to maybe get another person to be able to replace the former CS Muturi. But he chose Mbeere North. Why Mbeere North? He has to prove a point. Mm-hmm. And on Thursday, he will be proving a point.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is that why we've been seeing a lot of stress from both sides on these hotly contested areas? What is so special about Mbeere North that is going to give us a national outlook into what's going to happen in 2027? Mumbo?
Of course, Mbeere North by-election, like I told you earlier, it's not by coincidence. The president wanted to prove a point to his former deputy president, Rigathi Gachagua, mm-hmm. and he's going to do that on Thursday, 27th.
Is he going to do it, or is likely to do it? Because both candidates are quite strong, isn't it?
He is boldly going to do it.
What gives you that conviction?
You see, there are many areas whereby the president will be able to pick a candidate and he chose Mbeere North for a reason. That is where the former CS Muturi comes from. That is where the former CS, the current CS Ruku comes from. So the president wanted to set his foot right in the Mount Kenya region, and that is what he's actually going to do on Thursday, 27th.
Yes.
Yeah.
In the event he doesn't, because we do know the main man in that area who's been speaking heavily against the president is one Rigathi Gachagua. In the event that he doesn't do it, Mumbo, will you come back here and then say it's going to be a uphill task then for the president come 2027 in the central part of the country?
I know many things happen in politics, but this one for president, I don't think he's going to lose. He's here to say, he's said to write a statement to his former DP.
Yes.
Yeah.
Are you going against the general opinion or belief that the president and his party have become unpopular in the central part of the country?
You see, that has been said in many ways, but I think he believed otherwise.
Yes.
He still wants to be able to prove a point that he has not lost Mount Kenya yet, and he's going to do it on Thursday. That's what people should be able to wait.
Yes.
Leave alone Malava, leave alone any other constituency, leave alone even Baringo. He's going to prove a point through Mbeere North constituency.
Yes.
Yeah.
What makes you think that the president hasn't lost his popularity in the central part of the country?
You know, politics in one way or another is built on perception.
Yes.
That's just perception.
Yes.
We haven't been able to get into any election to be able to prove if indeed the president has been able to lose Mount Kenya or not.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe through this by-election we're going to be able to prove it right.
Yes.
Yeah.
That to you, from where you seated this morning, we have to get into that election for us to prove even if the president is popular or not, without even looking at the campaigns that have been on the ground or common say of the so-called kingpins in that region?
I believe that we must be able to get into that by-election first. That is what is going to be able to give us an overview of what if the president is indeed has lost the Mount Kenya region or not.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mumbo, the facts are bare that as it stands, former President Uhuru Kenyatta is not clearly siding with Ruto when it comes to giving support in the region because he has already picked his candidate. Rigathi Gachagua, a man who says he delivered that vote for the president in the 2022 general elections, is clearly not siding with the president in that area. Is that not enough telltale signs that it's going to be an uphill task for any other person riding against that wave that has been set in place by the former president and Rigathi Gachagua in that region?
Okay, in my own view, I don't think the president still controls the numbers he controlled in the previously before he lost Rigathi Gachagua. And of course he had the numbers even without the former president Uhuru Kenyatta. So for this case, what I will be able to say is that he has to be able to work hard. And one way he needs to be able to work hard is through proving it in a by-election in Mbeere North.
Yes.
If indeed he will be able to control the mountain, even by just a smaller section or not.
Yes.
And I'm quite certain that he hasn't lost the mountain yet.
That's it.
He still has some little bit of control. Mm-hmm. Because if you look into it, he will be able to, like you talked about the former President Uhuru Kenyatta. The former President Uhuru Kenyatta with his Jubilee Party, I don't think he can be able to even garner half of the member of parliament votes that William Ruto is going to garner.
Yes.
In the whole Mount Kenya region.
How do you address the critics who are looking at the current party that is UDA and saying that the president is more interested in ODM as a party than UDA, because the current optics do indicate that if he wants to enjoy majority support in different parts of the country, then ODM means more to him than UDA, which therefore gives them the conviction that in these by-elections, he might not win any seat under the UDA ticket.
Okay, like I mentioned earlier, it's just a matter of perception. A president will still rely on the UDA ticket. Mm-hmm. Of course, he's going to look for some other partners like ODM to be able to partner up in the next election. the major reason was that the president is actually so much interested with the ODM party. It's because it controls numbers, just like UDA does. So he wants a party that is able to fuse up with in the next general elections to be able to win numbers.
That's it.
Remember, President William Ruto made one mistake in the previous elections. The mistake that he will never want to be able to make again, which is this mistake, not having sufficient numbers in the National Assembly, starting to coerce some other parties in the post-election arrangements. That one is not going to be able to do again. That is one mistake that President William Ruto made in the previous election, that he's not actually willing to be able to get into come 2027. So he's looking for partners like ODM. ODM has numbers in terms of National Assembly.
Yes.
Look at the Senate. They control 23 counties in the Senate. They have over close to 100 MPs in the National Assembly.
That's it.
So he's actually looking to be able to. He's actually looking for a way to be able to coerce these members into one basket.
Yes.
At least one mistake that he made in the previous election doesn't really happen in the 2027 general election.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
All right, Mumbo, I'll be coming back to you then to see some of the responsibilities that the president has given his men, that is close boys, to deliver the Mbeere North seat. And the question that I'll be asking you is that, well, is the president himself campaigning in the central part of the country, or he ceded that responsibility to the people that he thinks would get support more than him? I mean, the people look good in the face of the central part of Kenya citizens. I'll be coming to you on that as well, because the Standard this morning is saying, well, that task has been given to Kithure Kindiki and the rest of them, and if they do not deliver, then they might be as well start parking their parks for 2027. It's a good thing that Mr. Mbui has walked into the studio this morning. How are you doing, sir? Fantastic. Happy to see you. It's been a minute. It's been what? 3 years down the line?
3 years.
That's not good, man.
Yeah.
Happy to see you.
Happy to see you too.
Good. Let's talk about this.
Yeah.
Do you believe, just like we've been talking with Mr. Mbuka this morning, do you believe that the 2027 by-elections means more than just a by-election, that this is the precursor to the 2027 general election, that some of the patterns that we will read tomorrow, once we get those results, that there will be a foretelling into what is going to happen in the 2027 general elections?
Yeah, you know, Simba, in fact, the question should be, why did the president decide to force a by-election in the mountain, North Mbeere, yet he knew there was this say that he has lost the mountain?
That's it.
Why did he decide to go and pick someone from the mountain, and to be specific, North Mbeere, to force a by-election in that area? You know, politics is a game. And what I can say is that these are not just by-elections. The president wants to test the ground. You know, there was this talk around that he has lost. He has lost it all. That there's this talk that has been going around that UDA party has lost. But if you look at what is happening in North Mbeere, you take a back and ask yourself, has it truly lost in Mount Kenya and even in western part of Kenya? Because from my point, if truly the president has lost the ground, then Gachagua should not be camping in North Mbeere to campaign for the United Opposition's candidate. If truly the president has lost the western part of Kenya, then all these machineries that we are seeing moving around in western Kenya shouldn't be even doing what they are doing. So, as from my opinion, is like there is more into these by-elections than what we are seeing.
That's it. So the question then, where the questions start then arising, is when you look at the Mbeere North seat, for instance, I mean, you can't say that it's only one side that is heavily campaigning in that area. We've seen how Kithure Kindiki has camped in that region. And it's indeed true, you can say, he's been told that is your responsibility. So, what is this that we're saying? It looks as if it is a struggle between Rigathi Gachagua and Kithure Kindiki. And when you put those two gentlemen together, because they're the ones who are now the front campaigners of those two candidates, who do you think has got the pull? Because it looks as if the president has said, that's your area, I picked you from the mountain region, you tell me you enjoy that support, so can you deliver that seat? Who among those two gentlemen is enjoying that support?
Between someone who said he has 7 million votes from the mountain. This is someone who came publicly and claimed that all the mountain is in his pocket, against someone who never had any vote from the mountain. You know, Kindiki was not in the ballot.
That's it.
And this is someone who's, I think for the first time, Kindiki is campaigning outside his county, Tharaka Nithi, because he has never ran for any office nationally. The last time Kindiki was in the ballot was as a senator in Tharaka Nithi County. This is the first time Kindiki is campaigning outside Tharaka Nithi County. So it's a battle between someone who has 7 million votes from the mountain against someone who has never been voted by anybody in the mountain. And for me, the way I was viewing this by-election, more specific from North Mbeere, is the question is how many votes Gachagua is going to lose out of the 7 million votes. So it doesn't matter whether you wins.
How many votes is he going to lose?
From the 7 million votes that he has in the mountain.
Yes.
From where I sit, it's not about who wins the North Mbeere seat. It's about how many votes is Gachagua going to lose from the 7 million. So from this by-election, we are starting to subtract from the 7 million votes that Gachagua has. Yeah.
Wait, I'm looking at you because then the next question before I go to
what he wins. Because even as you sit there, this is going to be a test.
Yes.
That those two gentlemen, even the president is looking.
But you know, Simba.
Even before you call it.
Yeah.
Because you also have to give party to the fact that both camps are campaigning in that region. Yes.
You know, it's not about. That's what I've said. It's not about who wins. The question is, by how many votes are we going to subtract from the 7 millions that Gachagua has? So this someone was declared that the mountain will not vote for any UDA candidate.
Hold on, by how many votes would you want Gachagua's candidate to win?
by? Is that the question that I should be asking? Because for you, you're saying, well, it's how many votes out of the 7 million.
You know, from what he says, from what, let me quote what Gachagua says.
Yes.
What Gachagua says that he controls the mountain and not even a single vote can go to a UDA candidate. That's what he said. But now we have a test. And remember, we are talking about someone who doesn't even have a candidate in North Mbeere. Remember, he's campaigning for a DP candidate.
That's it.
But now, because he is a self-declared the mountain kingpin, and he came publicly and said that the mountain is locked, and is locked for himself. Now, even if the UDA candidate gets 20% of the votes, we go back to the 7 million, we subtract 20%. Then we see how many votes as the UDA candidate subtracted, or the president has subtracted from the 7 million votes. Yeah.
But won't that make you scared then? That if that is the pattern, and if it's only 80% that he needs to get from that region, and he shall have it in 2027. Is that not what the president doesn't want to see?
You know, Simba, I think I've been in Kenyan politics for quite long now.
That's it.
And I can tell you that real elections are 6 months to elections. Real coalitions are 6 months to elections.
Mm-hmm.
What we are seeing now are people are trying to position themselves. I can assure you here today that all candidates that you see in the united oppositions are not going to remain in the united oppositions. There are some people who are in Kenya Kwanza and the broad-based government that are not going to be in the broad-based coalition.
That's it.
For now, what we are trying to do, we are testing the waters. We want to know how deep is let's say, how deep has Gachagua gone?
That's it.
As far as his talks, I think you've heard what he keeps on saying. We want to know how far has he gone since he started speaking.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Just before then I cross over to Mbuko this morning, just to bring you up to speed with where we were. This is the last question that I asked him. That as it stands, the president is heavily interested in ODM. When you look at this man, And I'll give you the facts from ODM at 20 celebrations that happened this month. That is a man who even sponsored transport for youth to go to Mombasa for those ODM celebrations, paid 2 million shillings that was supposed to cater for transport. There were droves and droves of buses from every other part of the country, but most importantly, the western part of the country, for gentlemen who went to Mombasa for the ODM at 20 celebrations. Then guess what? Oh boy, he didn't stop there. That even when he came to the founders' dinner, Jesus stood there and said unapologetically, I'm not apologizing to anybody, either from within my party, UDA, or to ODM members here. He came and said, I am a founding member of ODM, so I gotta be here. And in fact, Raila Amolo Odinga, before his passing, had already invited me to come here. You see him as a man who kind of, and I'm saying kind of in course because I do know that that's why we're here to prove that point, who kind of believes that ODM is more important to me than UDA in the 2027 general elections. And oh boy, if that is the fact, then what gives you the conviction that that's a man who still believes UDA will score in the central part of the country when his focus is rightly now on ODM?
Simba, I don't want to speak for the president, but facts are stubborn. The fact is, he is a founder member of ODM. We won't remove that one. And in fact, we won't change that one. He's a founder member. Number two, they had a working arrangement with the late Prime Minister Raila Amolo Odinga. That's a fact. Another fact is,
I'm sorry to cut you short, even as you go through the list of facts, but it was not on a party basis. It was never on a party basis. The working agreement was never on a party basis.
But
that ODM and UDA are not a coalition.
It's true, but they had a working relationship.
Yes.
They had an arrangement.
Yes.
They had an agreement.
Yes.
That's a fact.
Then why would he sponsor?
Wait, Simba, wait, I finish.
Just on that as well. I'm going to cut you short.
Yeah.
Why would then that man who the president didn't give a coalition party basis agreement, why would he sponsor members of ODM to go and attend at ODM at 20 celebrations?
That's what I'm headed to.
That's it.
You know, for a relationship to work, it has to start from somewhere.
That's it.
They began by forming a broad-based government. The late Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga sent experts to work with the government. And in fact, not just experts, an ODM chairperson, ODM party, deputy party leaders.
That's it.
And the minority whip. Those are the people he sent to the government. That one speaks a lot. That's why they had begun to build their relationship. And we don't know, but from what I heard, I think you saw the interview that was done by the PA to the late Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga. He said that, and if you listen to the head of communication, Mr. Onsarigo, in an interview that he had with one of the bloggers, he said that from the information that he had from Mzee, is that Mzee was not going to vie in 2027, and he was working towards supporting the president. That's from his head of communication. And if you look at how they had started building, in fact, there is one source that told me that Mzee told them that amongst all the president that he has worked with, William Ruto looks like a more focused person. That one will tell you that there was a relationship that was being built. Now, when it comes to the president over-relying or relying on ODM to support him, that trusting ODM more than trusting UDA. You know, in this, if you look at the history of this nation, you'll realize that no party has ever managed to go through two phases of elections. If you look at President Kibaki, in his first term, he ran under NAC. In his second term, he ran under PNU. Same thing to President Uhuru Kenyatta. He came up with the TNA that formed a coalition with the William Ruto party. After the 2013 elections, 2017, they brought all parties under one political party that they call the Jubilee Party. So in Kenyan election, parties move from one phase to another, from one election to another. There's a possibility in 2020, in the next election, we might not even have UDA in a ballot box. And I might shock you that the president might vie with the ODM. What will stop him from vying using ODM?
That doesn't.
I remember he's a founder member of that party.
Doesn't that go then to prove a point? And that's what I was getting to. Because let me just now get you up to speed then, because Ombu is now up to speed up to exactly where we left it. But when you look at the focus of the president, he's a man who's not convinced that his party enjoys country support in as much as ODM enjoys that support. I mean, when you look at the central part of the country, I mean, as you said, it's got to be tested this time around. Tomorrow, when they go into these by-elections, it will see exactly where the party stands. But currently, as it is a man who's convinced that, wait a minute, I mean, this party that I currently hold, it doesn't enjoy much support as the ODM party enjoys this support. So for me now, I'm more resigned to making sure that my candidature is either heavily supported by ODM or I'm actually going in as an ODM candidate. Is that what it is, Ombuko? And if that is the fact, then why are we seated here this morning saying, wow, he's not lost the popularity that he still enjoyed from 2022?
Before I respond to that, there's something I wanted to say.
Yes.
I think in my own view, UDA will be able to break the record running 2 phases of an election, re-electing a president. My brother here has been able to mention NAC now to PNU under Mwai Kibaki.
That's it.
He has been able to mention TNA transitioning with ERP to fuse the former president and the current president to come up with Jubilee, and now we have UDA. The reason was why I'm saying that UDA will be able to transition through the second election is because of its support base.
That's it.
And now I'll be able to answer your question currently, that the one that you asked about the president being coercing with ODM, having a lot of interest in ODM more than his own party.
That's it.
You see, politics, just like business, is about interest. Politics, just like business, is about interest. And you see the interest of President William Ruto in ODM, like I mentioned earlier, it's not based on anything else. It is purely based on the numbers. And let's say, for instance, UDA commands a very different base that ODM commands. Let's say, for instance, Rift Valley. There are no good numbers in terms of ODM members in Rift Valley, where UDA enjoys the base. Same to Mount Kenya.
Yes.
The president might be able to look into it this way. Like, let's say, for instance, especially when media houses are airing out the patterns where the president is actually winning, where the candidate is actually winning in an election, especially to do with the presidential races.
Yes.
You will find that UDA controls different patterns in terms of regions than that ODM doesn't control. ODM controls the western region, Luo Nyanza, Kisii, the coastal region, Nairobi, partially, let's say, for example, Narok and Kajiado. You will find, like, let's say, for example, UDA controls something very different from that. Mount Kenya and Rift Valley, to be specific.
That's it.
And partially Northeastern.
That's it. And Mumbo, just that's a proper analysis you're giving this morning. And about analysts who've sat right there where you are, and they've actually given me that analysis. And they're saying, good, look at where ODM enjoys its majority support, and they keep on mentioning these areas. But even when it came to the 2022 general election, let's be fair, UDA did not win the western part of this country. They did not. In terms of the total votes that came from the western part of the country, they did not score. And the people are saying, look here, that pattern will still be maintained all the way into 2027. Like, you do not expect it to change. So if you're saying that UDA would essentially get majority support in 3 regions, and one area is still questionable, and that's why you've actually said here this morning that these by-elections are going to be a test, whether we still have that region or not, can't you see then that ODM is more important to the president than UDA is, out of the analysis that you've given us this morning? that if you look at the areas that you mentioned this morning, then the president is sitting somewhere and saying, you know what, it's got to be through ODM. If Gachagua makes his facts right and takes that region away from the president, then what does UDA have, Mumbo? Mumbo, out of the analysis you've given here.
UDA is still a very strong party.
Nobody's saying that it's not a strong party.
I'm still convinced.
That's
and you see,
Mumbo, nobody's not saying that it's a strong party. Out of the analysis you've given us here this morning, if you don't win the by-elections in Mbere North, come tomorrow, and you've said that's going to be a true test of the numbers that we're going to get in 2027, then what do you have as UDA?
Okay, for me, UDA is not just about Mount Kenya alone.
Yes.
That is what you need to be able to understand for this case.
Yes.
The moment we understand that, that's how we get to unlock this conversation. People should get out and start thinking about something else and not just UDA and Mount Kenya. Like you've had my brother mention here, even the former DP himself doesn't have a DP candidate in Mbere North. If he had a candidate in Mbere North.
Didn't they agree, Mumbo, just for the sake of facts, didn't they agree that they are going to field a single candidate as united opposition? They said, we're not going to compete on this. We're going to enable the opposition parties within this area to field a candidate.
But now my question still remains here, Simba.
Yes.
How many agreements are going to be there in terms of how many candidates, or rather from which party, are going to be filled from this region?
Yes.
Because now we have Jubilee, like you mentioned earlier. We have UDA itself.
That's it.
We have DP, and we have DCP. Will the mountain not be divided for that case? Those are some of the things we need to be able to look at.
Mumbo, are they not calling themselves currently as it is, as a united opposition?
It's a united opposition,
yes. No wonder even when it comes to fielding their candidates, they decide that we're going to field one candidate as a united opposition.
I don't think that is a united opposition. That is something else. They need to be able to work out around it.
Mumbo, but if we agree going into an election as an opposition that we're going to field one candidate to represent us, that's an agreement already as it is.
No, the best way Gachagua would be able to prove a point to his former boss for this case, in my own opinion,
yes,
would be for him coming up and fielding a DCP candidate. Remember, DCP is his own vehicle. Remember him saying that for this case, he's going to have his own vehicle whereby nobody will be able to hold the keys for that vehicle.
That's it. Also on that one, as you add on that point, this is the question that I got yesterday, and I'll put it to you, and I'll put it to you this morning, and it's coming from a man called Dan, and I'll read it. Can you ask the gentleman that you're talking to in the morning, how many parties is UDA fighting in the central part of the country? That in an event that there was an election and each of the candidates that are getting fielded by the united opposition garner a couple of votes, UDA has nothing left for them to take home, because they're using the same strategy that the united opposition is also using. Let's go down, campaign, and all the guys that are getting campaign from that region are also from the region. That's the question that this man is asking, that how many parties are you fighting within the central part of the country?
You know, number one, let me tell Dan, that's a very nice question. And let me inform him that in politics, when you are a coalition and you field, each party in that coalition fields a candidate in an election, that's a weakness. That's a weakness. And if the united opposition, you know, from central Kenya, we've got DCP, we've got DP, we've got the LWAT for Martha Karua, and
yes,
we've got Jubilee Party.
Yes.
These are parties that claim to be in an opposition and in a united opposition. You know, number one, the word united opposition should not even exist because they are not united. To be united, you people come together, work under one political party, because you're having, when you're fighting the same enemy, you people need to come together, form a political party and go against. When you look at the candidates that this opposition party might field in, even in the general election, that's how we can, that will be a walkover to the UDA party. And I don't want to seem to be speaking on behalf of UDA party, but I really wanted an opposition that is well organized, that has got a plan, because from where I sit, you remember last time I was here, I was working for the UDA party, as the chairperson in the constituency. But there are things that even myself, I felt that as a party and as a government, a party that formed a government, there are things that they didn't do as they had planned or they had promised. But my question is, yes, the president is not working. The president has not achieved what he had promised. Remember the bottom-up economics.
That's it.
Remember the promise that he had given to youths. We had, in fact, I was among those people who signed the youth charter, the women's charter, the plan. There's what we call the plan that we launched at Nyayo Stadium. When I look at most of the things that he had promised, he has not achieved much of it. And the bottom-up economics has not worked as of today. But now the question is, whom do we replace the president with? Who is outside here that can do what Ruto has not done, or can be an upgrade of President William Ruto? Is it Rigathi Gachagua? And the question is no. Is it Fred Matiang'i, the man that I really wanted to support? But if you look at his politics puts him out, because you can't have an ambition of being a president of this great country and you are being managed by someone somewhere in a boardroom somewhere. Is it Natembeya? What experience does Natembeya have to run a country? Remember, Natembeya was a regional commissioner before he became a governor. This is someone who has not worked in any office, as a manager in any office. Is it Eugene Wamalo? Is it Kalonzo Musyoka? Kalonzo Musyoka, we know Kalonzo Musyoka is someone who can be controlled by anybody. The most recent, we've seen that in his government, someone is taking 50%. What are you going to be left with? Now the question is, whom are we going to replace William Samoei Ruto with? That's the question. We don't have someone who is going to replace William Samoei Ruto. And Mr. Dan, let me tell him this. The more you field the candidates with different political parties against a united UDA candidate, you lose it. And that is a mistake that in Northern Mbeere, the united opposition had made.
Yes.
Remember, we had Mbui, we had Karis, and we had Leonard.
Yes.
The government had only Leonard in Northern Mbeere. The DCP candidate and the DP candidate had already started the campaigning. Remember the claims by the DCP candidate that he paid 5 million to Gachagua for him to get a ticket. So as from where I see, there's the more you field the candidates as a united opposition. Remember, even Kuria has joined the united opposition, Moses Kuria, and he has a candidate in Northern Mbeere. And if you look at the matrix of politics in Northern Mbeere, you realize that they're ward-based. And all these candidates are coming from certain wards. Apart from 2 wards, where the DP candidate and the Moses Kuria candidate are coming from the same ward, that even controls less votes as compared to what the UDA candidate is controlling in his ward. That's why, from an interview yesterday, I said people are going to be shocked. We are going to have the quoted president, an unpopular president, winning by-elections that people did not expect. And I see North Mbeere going to UDA. I see Malaba going to UDA.
Yes.
And I'm seeing majority of these by-elections going to a broad-based government that is so unpopular.
Pretty much. Just what? You know what? I'll call you back, because it's just next week that we'll sit here and analyze that election result. Because it's not the very first time that I'm having this conversation from different camps on that seat where you are. I've had gentlemen who are seated where you're sitting. They've looked at the metrics on the ground and they've said, we do not expect that UDA is going to feature anywhere in these by-elections that we're getting into, because the party has become unpopular. And part of the facts that you're mentioning right there is that the promises that were given by the president in the running to the 2022 general election, there's this feeling, especially by the young people of this country, that they haven't been met purely on that fact that indeed that vote is not going to go to UDA. I've had gentlemen who've sat where you sit there right now, Mumbo, and they've said a sympathy vote is something that's going to work heavily for Rigathi Gachagua in the central part of this country. That right there when they're seated, they see Rigathi Gachagua as a man who was kicked out of Ruto's government for defending their share in the government. But once we come back, gentlemen, then, I want us to take a little shift from what these elections would mean and look at the representations in these by-elections. The question of where is the youth vote in these by-elections? Even after we've gone to Gen Z protests in the country, the biggest this country has ever seen, all the way to accessing the doors of parliament, there seems to be no conviction of the youth agenda. I'm going to mention a couple of names here, and then we're going to ask, why aren't we focusing on the youth vote in the 2027 by-elections, and most importantly, the general elections? Why are they? Once we come back right here on the morning drift, do you believe that UDA is going to win majority seats come tomorrow's by-election? The Standard has called it that if those men do not take the vote home, then the political survival in 2027 is not there. Which men are those? I'll be telling you once we come back from this break. Let's talk more. We're still with Mbui, with Mr. Mbuko right here in the studio.
Taarifa zinapochipuka na kutufikia papa hapa kwenye makao makuu ya chumba cha habari cha runinga ya Lookup, kwenye taifa, kwenye serikali, kwenye bunge, tunajitosa hadi kwenye sauti ya wenyeji ili kupata tu maoni ya wenyeji kuhusu masuala haya yanayochipuka.
Maana hii kitu inaenda kuumiza Mkenya kwa tax.
Hakuna kitu tunafurahia. Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Sisi tunaumia, si ati tunaumia ile ya kiukweli. Juu maisha ni ngumu.
Na bila shaka tunapata maoni yao ili sauti yao ipate kusikika. Na watasema hili, waseme lile, watasema hiki, na waseme kile, almuradi sauti yao ipate taa.
Mambo ya mafuta tena imekuwa ni changamoto zaidi kwa kila mtu wa bodaboda.
Uchumi ikikuwa stable, tunaamini mambo itakuwa sawa sawa.
Kwanza liko na ria wasa wa boda, mama mboga nini. Hao sasa ndio wamefinywa zaidi man.
Mtazamaji, hii ni bunge la wenyeji.
How easy is it for you to forgive someone who has hurt you?
How easy is it?
What are some tips, a person can apply to improve their public speaking skills?
We all have personality lazy somewhere around us.
In my mind, whenever I'm invited for a public speaking event, I don't like to put a lot of, accessories or too many colors.
What are the major things to look out when choosing a school for a child?
Another cheesy conversation starter is, men do this a lot. Men look familiar. Have we met before?
No. We met again. Nobody's buying that line again.
No, we don't. We don't buy it anymore.
Do you need a dose of hope? If so, you are in the right place. We think of ourselves around here as hope dealers, delivering truth, power, and inspiration to hearts and minds all over the world. If nothing else has worked for you, why not give the God thing a try? For it's in the presence of God that you'll find everything that you need. Amen.
Save a Life is a non-profit organization that has taken the front line in transforming lives in the entire country. So far, we have transformed life of over 100,000 people through our programs, which include medical support, youth empowerment, street family program, feeding program, and climate change. Join us today as we transform lives. As we always say, service to humanity is service to God. Save a life, transforming lives.
I'm loving the conversations that are coming online. I just want us to shift a little bit from what the 2027 outlook is going to be, going by the voting patterns we're going to see tomorrow. But just before that, there's a very interesting comment here that has come from Irene. Irene, good morning, and thank you very much for following us this morning. Yes, tunatafuta chai yako. Wacha kusema, wacha hii siwezi soma Irene. But anyway, this is what she's saying. And she's speaking your quote, Mr. Mbui, and this is what he's saying, that yes, Mr. Mbui is right, that at this point, coalitions are still happening, and ODM looks to be the center stage in that conversation. She goes on to say, ODM, as it stands, is a very important party, not only for the president, but also for the united opposition, because we do not know where ODM might decide to swing. Goes on to say, so what if ODM joins the united opposition and fronts a strong presidential candidate like one Kalonzo Musyoka? She goes on to say, I believe that will be done and dusted for UDA.
Support what she's saying. Before I comment further on the same, there is someone who used to tell me, there is an English, a British man who told me, you know, I'm strong because you are not strong, not because I'm strong. The strength in me is because there's no strength in you. Mm-hmm. But if you become stronger, then I'm weak. Do you know why William Ruto still remains as the presidential candidate to beat in 2020 in the next general election? Is because so far no strong candidate has come out, and the opposition looks more disorganized than organized. And it's true, UD had lost popularity. There is a question you asked my brother before we went for a break.
Yes.
About the Mount Kenya votes. How is the president going to replace those votes, because Gachagua has gone with them? And remember, I told you the question is how many less votes is the president going to get from the mountain? And if the president manages to bring ODM to the broad-based, as things stand today, from afar you can see that Joho has started re-energizing himself to come back as the coastal leader. Remember where is he pointing to? To the broad-based government.
That's it.
And when we are talking about ODM, after the exit of the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, let's not talk about the ODM that we knew. ODM is going to come up with the different regional leaders. Joho is going to come from the coastal region. We'll have a leader from Nyanza. We'll have a leader from Western, who's going to lead his people to the broad-based government. Expect some to go and support the opposition. We've seen the likes of Akina Sifuna. We've seen the likes of Akina Caleb Amisi. We've seen even some people from Nyanza who are like James Orengo, who are saying, wait a minute, we are not supposed to support the government blindly. We can still go back to the streets. So expect a divided ODM. But what will make William Ruto president is that William Ruto is going to build small kings. And remember, he's a master in this. He's going to build small kings. In the last election, he went to Mombasa and came up with Jicho Pevu, Muhammad Ali. He went to Northeastern and created a small kingpin from there, Duale. He went and came up with the people that most of us did not expect and used them to win.
Yes.
So what the president is going to do, from when he will realize that ODM is not going to support him as a party, as the whole party, he's going to get leaders from ODM from different regions and use them to get votes from those regions. As things stand today, the only place that most people expected the president not to get as many votes as he got in the previous election is Mount Kenya. But I can assure you, from Western is going to get a sizable number of votes. Because from Western he has Oparanya, he has the governor from Kakamega, he has Wetangula, he has Mudavadi. Get that? He's going to get, at least there will be an increase from the votes that he got from the last elections. The only place that we expect, yes, he's going to lose some votes from Kisii region because the Fred Matiang'i factor, but he's going to ban more votes from the Luo side and the Kuria side. So that one is going to add in the basket.
Yes.
From the votes that he got in the previous elections.
Pretty much.
The same thing is going to happen to the, remember he didn't get enough votes from the coastal region, but this time around, all coast region leaders are working with the broad-based government. In fact, if there's a region that is not divided when it comes to working with the broad-based government, is the coast region and the north region. The Ma community that was purely in opposition today, the last man that we thought might pull his troops to opposition, the Kajiado governor, the other day spoke and said he's working with the broad-based government and is going to support the president. So the Ma community again has added in William Ruto's basket. The problem that I have with the opposition, and I'm speaking this because Simba, when DCP party was being formed, even today I'm in their group, I was among the youth league committee members. I was selected to be a youth leader in that DCP party, but I didn't see a clear vision, a clear direction that the DCP party was taking. The problem with the united opposition, today as we speak, Simba, there is a cold war going about between Gachagua and Fred Matiang'i that people don't want to speak about. There is an underground war, and I can assure you, in this united opposition, we are going to have two factions of oppositions. Uhuru Kenyatta is not going to support Gachagua in any way. That's why he wants to revive the Jubilee Party. So, as much as President William Ruto looks weak, the question is, the people that we want to replace with William, are they having a clear plan to oust this man? That's what the problem is.
Yes.
And that's what I've told you, the real coalitions will be formed 6 months to elections. And I'm sad to say President William Ruto will win, not because he's the strongest candidate. It's because the rest are weak.
Okay, let me say something.
Yes, Mumba, also respond to that one from Irene as well. That as it stands right now, the president is heavily quoting ODM because he knows it's a very important party for his elections in 2027, and probably currently is looking at what is on the ground and he's saying, well, the popularity of my party might not be at par with where I want it to be. That in the event that the united opposition manages to quote ODM as well, because understandably they could be quoting them, just the same way the president is quoting them, that if they swing that direction and probably pick a strong candidate like Kalonzo Musyoka, then it's done and dusted for UDA.
Okay, I agree with what he's saying in one way or another, having Kalonzo as the candidate. But again, if you look at these other candidates, are they going to be able to agree that Kalonzo is our man?
Yes.
Is our main man on the ballot? You see, in the Kenyan politics today, it is about regional balance. Are you having the regional balance? Are you really striking the regional balance aspect in your faction?
Yes.
Like, let's say, for instance, if I have to be able to take it this way, President William Ruto is a good student of the late President Moi. How did Moi manage to win elections in 1992 and even 1997? In those 2 years, Moi worked without Mount Kenya. I remember in 1997, he only had Kamotho from Mount Kenya. How did he win elections? How did he manage to be able to run the country? This is how he won elections. There was Mwai Kibaki running as a president. There was Matiba running as a president.
Yes, Mama.
Moi had 1.9 million votes. Matiba had 1.6. You get the point? And now we had Mwai Kibaki with 1.4. If they fused up to be able to come up with 1.6 and 1.4, they would have 3 million votes, beating Moi, who had 1.9. So what is going to happen in Mount Kenya today? In fact, one prayer that William Ruto has today is for the one Rigathi Gachagua to get on the ballot in 2027. That is what he wants. If Rigathi gets on the ballot in 2027, it will be a walkover for William Ruto.
That's it. What if he doesn't?
If he doesn't, I think the president will have to fumble to be able to get there. Why am I saying that if the president wants Gachagua to get on the ballot?
Yes.
You know, for Mount Kenya to wake up in the morning, they must have their man on the ballot. Matiang'i is not their man, per se. You understand the point? Just with the party, but not...
Do they need their man directly, or do they need...
They need their man directly for them to be able to wake up in large numbers to go vote. If they are having their man on the ballot, they'll be able to wake up in the morning and go vote.
Mm-hmm.
So this is how it's going to be able to turn out. They'll have many options on the table. William Ruto, being the master of politics, he'll be able to drift them 2 candidates for that case.
Yes.
Or even 1. And you see, what I want to say from where I sit is that the last president we elected through the ballot was Mwai Kibaki in 2002. Legitimately. Since ever, in the middle of the things, I think we've not been able to elect presidents legitimately through the ballot. There are things that happen behind the scenes that we don't really understand. So what is going to happen for Mount Kenya for this case? They need to be able to prepare Gachagua to get in the ballot. Something that William Ruto is actually ready for. And the moment they wake up in the morning to go vote for their candidate, they will have empowered the one William Ruto, the current president,
yes,
to be able to get onto the throne in the next election, that 2027.
Yes.
So for that case, in my own view, if the united opposition has to be able to take this home, like I was telling you, they need to be able to map this country. Out of the 290 constituencies, how many members are there? Are they fielding to be able to have sufficient numbers in the National Assembly? Out of the 47 counties, how many senators are they fielding to be able to have sufficient numbers in the Senate? Remember, even William Ruto, having won the previous election, he still has to be able. He still had to be able to go out and look for the other members.
That's it.
The independent candidates and even other smaller parties, to coerce them into his own Kenya Kwanza arrangement. So if you look into that, are the united opposition ready for the same? Like we had a conversation about Mount Kenya just having many candidates, the 4 parties. Let's say, for example, the Martha Karua's party, Justin Muturi's party, Moses Kuria's party, Uhuru Kenyatta's party, and the DCP, which is Gashagua's party. Are they even ready to be able to field one candidate? Let's say, for instance, let's just give Kiambu. Moses Kuria comes with his own party, wants to be able to field candidates. Martha Karua comes with his own party, wants to be able to field candidates. Same to the rest of the members who are in the united opposition. Are they really going to be able to give the face of what people think that this is the direction for us?
Yes.
And you see, for this case, I know one game plan that William Ruto is going to come up with. If he fuses up with the parties like ODM, like the conversation we've been able to have in this big conversation, he'll be able to have ODM and maybe other party. He'll be able to form a stronger coalition for that case. He will tell ODM, this is the list. These are the 290 constituencies. Tell me, where are you going to deliver as ODM? Maybe with other party, where are you going to deliver with your party?
Yes.
With my UDA, let me deliver this. And let me tell you, he will garner over 3/4 of the numbers.
Yes.
If the ODM, if the United Opposition is still having the confused arrangements they're having with their parties.
Yes.
So what the president is going to do for this case, I think, is going to be able to talk to ODM like he has already started doing, to be able to come up with sufficient numbers in both bicameral houses, in the National Assembly and in the Senate. Once he does that, game done. Because that's the only thing that he needs to be able to put on the table for that case.
Yes.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Oh boy, but I want us to quickly move from this one. And I also want you to add on to this. This is the last question that we are having on this one as well. This one is from David this morning, who's saying, well, nice conversation, thank you very much, David. But then he's saying, kindly inform the gentleman on your screen this morning that if you look at the way the campaigns in the by-elections are being contested, it looks as if Ruto has decided he is not in the game. No wonder, in the central part of Kenya, Kithure Kindiki has been sent. In the western part of the country, looks as if Moses Wetangula has been sent. No wonder he is fighting with one Natembeya. Hold on, goes on to say, if you look at the way Ruto has played it, he knows that this gentleman might not deliver. No wonder he is not in it. Ruto is watching. He is planning, knowing very well that maybe UDA doesn't hold waters in the areas where the by-elections are getting conducted.
Let me start with that one.
Yes.
You know, one of William Ruto's strength is he goes to every election, even the last election, he goes to every election as a loser. That's one of the strengths that William Ruto has. I remember when you were here during the election day, Simba, I told you William Ruto will win. Because we sat down with that man, and from the angles he was seeing that election, that man, I knew he's strong. One thing that you will never defeat William Ruto in is planning. William Ruto knows how to plan. And David, for heaven's sake, you don't expect the president to go and campaign by elections. Even the previous presidents have never gone to campaign by elections. They send their people. To comment on what my brother said, Simba, for the first time in Kenyan history, expect Mount Kenya not to vote as a bloc. Expect Mount Kenya, they will not vote as a bloc. Come rain, come sunshine. Don't expect the eastern part of the mountain to vote for Gachagua, and yet they have their son as a deputy president. So remove the Meru votes, remove the part of the Embu votes from the Mount Kenya basket. And Tharaka, I remember the famous Tharaka Nithi county. So for the first time, and that is the game plan that William Ruto is going to employ. So number one, Mount Kenya will not vote as a bloc.
Is that only good for the president?
Yeah, it's good for the president. Because if I can't have your vote, then no one should have it. The only region that I expect to vote as a bloc in the coming election is Eastern, where Kalonzo comes from, in this country, and the Rift Valley, where President comes from. But other regions, after the exit of the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, expect even Nyanza not to vote as a bloc. And this is how William Ruto is going to capitalize on this. One, he'll ensure if I don't get 60% of votes from Mount Kenya, let me get 30%. If I'm not going to get 60% from Western, let me get 30%. If I'm not going to get 60% from Nyanza, let me get 30%. Then I get my 100% from Rift Valley, from the coastal region, and Northeastern, and the Ma community.
Yes.
Those will be enough. And most people talk of 7 million votes from Mount Kenya. Who told the people that Mount Kenya voted 7 million? In fact, I was in Westland Sterling Center where we were counting the UDA candidates' votes. Mount Kenya gave us 4 million votes, not 7 million votes. There's a point that my brother has said. When the mountain has no a candidate from their region, they never turn up. Leave alone the sayings that are going around that Mount Kenya want to prove a point to William Ruto. Let me tell you, Mount Kenya will not come out in their numbers to vote. Another disadvantage that plays, and let me tell you, if there is a region that if I were a presidential candidate, I want to waste my time running to, is Mount Kenya. Mount Kenya has got, I think, 5 kingpins. They have Kithure Kindiki, who is going to run away with the eastern side of Mount Kenya votes. We have Rigathi Gachagua. As much as we are saying he's not a strong candidate, he's going to get a good number of votes for Mount Kenya, for his candidate. We have Uhuru Kenyatta. Don't despise Uhuru Kenyatta. He has a say in Mount Kenya. And remember, he's going back to Mount Kenya to tell them, wait a minute, I warned you against this man. You never listened. You voted against what I told you. See, now you are suffering. Again today, I'm warning you, don't support where Gachagua is taking you. Support my candidate. Matiang'i will run away with some of Mount Kenya votes.
Oh boy, but he's not said that. He's actually warning the central parts of the country.
No, he's coming to tell them that. Wait a minute.
Is he coming? Is he going to change his message strategically? He's actually telling them, I told you not to vote in this government. See what's going on.
Yeah, that's what he's coming to tell them. And he will warn them, remember this man was with Rigathi Gachagua, and you people are following Rigathi Gachagua. If you want to be safe, vote my candidate, Fred Matiang'i.
But he's also warned the central part of the country from abusing Rigathi Gachagua and shunning him. He's told them any other person within my party is abusing him.
You know, I think that there is a manner in which most DCP supporters took that statement. The president said categorically, don't abuse our party. We should not abuse other leaders.
Yes.
And he gave out examples with the Gachagua and then another leader. So it didn't specifically mean that
to me, it was instilling
discipline in the party, not throwing support to Gachagua. That was just instilling discipline in his party. So what I want to tell, as much as William must go, as much as we must shout William must go, then we must have a strategy that will send William home. I remember the late Honorable asked the people, yes, William must go. You people are shouting William must go. Then who takes over after William Samoei Ruto? It's this same person. Kalonzo, I don't support Kalonzo much because Kalonzo has not come out as that leader whom you can trust.
That's it.
Your country. And to remember, he's even being managed by Rigathi Gachagua. Rigathi Gachagua is the one who's controlling Kalonzo Musyoka, and yet they have not formed a government. What if he forms a government? And my question is, if Rigathi Gachagua was able, if the same man Rigathi Gachagua was able to make William Samoei Ruto not sleep, the man William Ruto that we know, what about Kalonzo Musyoka? Who is Kalonzo Musyoka to Rigathi Gachagua?
Now, gentlemen, it's a good thing that we've gotten to that level, and it's a good thing that you're pointing out issues that the Kenyan youth want you to address again this morning. Now, for the next 10 minutes, there's a question here that I've kept on getting every other time that we do these discussions. And here's the question. Mr. Mumbo, I'll start with you. That when you look at this by-elections that we're getting into, every other person is talking about how all of a sudden the Kenyan youth have woken up, fighting for their rights, fighting for the rule of the law, fighting for the constitution in this country. That you would imagine that these by-elections will be a showcase of that. That the youthful candidates that have fronted their names as the potential leaders would walk home with these votes. Because one, we have more youth in this country. 70% of our population is made up of the youth. And so it will be easier for youth candidates or youthful candidates, if I say so, to make it to the final ballot. Is that what you're going to expect in these by-elections? Or since we're talking about patterns for 2027, vijana atuko?
Okay, for me, what I will be able to say, and in fact, it will be very unfortunate for us to end this conversation without factoring the youths in the conversation. The youths need to be able to wake up. Look at the general by-elections around.
Yes.
There's a gentleman in Baringo that I really give thumbs up to. having stood up as an independent candidate to vie for the senatorial seat. Youths need to be able to come up more. Like, let's say, for instance, I want to challenge the youth. The IEBC the other day just conducted mass registration. Where are we in the map? If we have to take shape in the Kenyan politics today, where do we really sit on the table in terms of the Kenyan politics? We need to be able to wake up in the morning and ensure that we register as voters.
Yes.
The voter registration has been very low, extremely low. Since 2022 up to now, I expect that the majority of the people who've been able to finish school, who've been able to receive their national IDs, who would have gone out to register as voters. In fact, I'm just shocked that there are some of the youths who even don't know that voter registration is actually taking place in our country.
That's it.
So for that case, are we really ready? That is the question, to be able to take up the leadership of this country. If we even don't know that the voter registration is actually taking place, voter registration, that is. So for youth to be able to come up and even say that they want to be able to vie, are they registered voters? You remember we had Mariga here in Kibra, not even being a registered voter in Kibra, vying as a member of parliament in Kibra. So we need to be able to register as voters first. Yes. Once we register as voters, it gives us the energy for us to be able to get into arena whereby we need to be able to say that we want to vie for the various seats in the country. Like, let's say, for instance, right now, election itself, just vying for any seat in our country is very expensive. And the only way we can be able to do away with that is through the youths supporting the youths. How do we support the youth? Register as a voter. So that when we have Mumbo here, when we have Mbui as a candidate in the ballot, it's much easier for us to be able to get there and say, we have our candidate here. Let's rally behind him. Let's rally behind her. Let's support our candidate. Let's support our own youth. That way, the youth will be able to get to power. But again, now look at the current trend, like with the one we are having currently today. The youth are not registering as voters. That's now when the political class are actually capitalizing on the same, because they have the financial muscles which the youth don't have. Like, let's say, for instance, this is Westlands, this is Starehe.
Yes.
No, not Starehe.
This is
Dagoretti North.
Yes. It is.
If I have to vie as a member of parliament in Dagoretti North, how much money do I need as a youth? Somebody below 35 years. That is a question of interest.
That's it.
But if I had, like, let's say, for example, in Dagoretti North, if I had, if Dagoretti North alone has around 100,000 registered members, registered voters, and we have 3/4, let's say, for example, 50% youth, 30% women, which consists of 3/4 generally out of 100%. We now have 80,000 registered voters who are now women and youth. You know, I would be able to get this seat without struggling.
That's it.
How and why? Because remember, it is our mothers who get out each and every other day when we are having protests on the road, on the streets, to be able to start crying about their children. They need to be able to rally behind me with zero funds to support me. The same youths who go to parliament to be shot dead and who die on the streets every other after every other election are the people who need to be able to rally behind me with my policies to be able to take me to the
next level.
To the next level. But you see, that is not happening. Like, I mentioned about youth registering about voters, about registering as voters in our country. Many youth still don't want to go vote. Like, let's say, for example, right now, I should not be able to imagine that elections are won through the social media. Elections are not won through the social media. I must be able to register as a voter. Keep my ID well, keep my vote well, wait until that day, go to Mbui's political rallies without expecting 100 shillings, just to be able to listen to his policies. What does he have for me? as an MC, as a member of parliament, as a governor, as a senator. Listen to him without expecting even a single shilling or a single cent from him.
That's it.
Go back home and wait until that day election comes. Wake up in the morning, go to the polling station and vote for him. That is now when I can be able to go home and now say, I have voted for my candidate. Let me wait and see the end results. So if that's not happening, we are still very far from fielding the candidates in various positions as youths to be able to win elections.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Oh boy, we only have 3 minutes left, and I want you to tackle some of these issues this morning, and that's the last question I'm putting across to you. If you look at some of the youth, and maybe we need to start defining when we say youth and youthful. And this morning, this list that I've got for you is youthful in terms of the guys who are running in these by-elections. We have guys like Jared Oluoch, Evelyn Ogendo, Elkanah Moses. Those are the ones in Kasipul constituency. And a UDA, especially in a Kasipul constituency, we've got Thomas Ogada, George Were, Daniel Oteno. Those are the ones that look quite youthful in this by-elections. If you also start now mining what the youthful faces are in these other ones, we have like Brian Odhiambo, who's running under MDG. We have Kanu, Samuel Ochieng. We have independent candidates. Several are under 35, including candidates like Peter Omwenga and Cynthia Achieng. And all these ones are in Kasipul. Youth leaders and youthful leaders. When are the youth going to break this dark? Somebody told me yesterday, stop calling the likes of Babu Wino and Edwin Sifuna youth. Those are not youth. They're already beyond the bracket of youth in this country, because the constitution says as long as you're 35 and below, that's when you become a youth. But beyond that, you're not considered. When are they going to break into this? 3 minutes.
I wish you've given us enough time to discuss matters to do with the youth in leadership. And I hope the next discussion will be based on that. In Kabila la Vijana, our grand norm was enshrined in making sure we support youth in leadership and to ensure that we get into top positions in this country. But one thing came into play.
Yes.
In the previous elections, when I was speaking to our members, I told them that in this election we don't have a political party. Go fit yourself in these major political parties, fight for your positions within those political parties, so that in the future we see now we are going to have our political party.
Yes.
The problem is that though the owners of these political parties, who are not youths, are not ready to give us positions within their political parties.
That's it.
Instead, they use us in building their political parties. But when it comes to the major positions, and even in vying in the positions in the general elections, we don't get these positions. That's when you start seeing huge amount of fees being put for you to get a nomination certificate, for you to be nominated to vie with that political party. They ask up to half a $250,000. Those who ask up to $500,000 for you to run as a governor in these political parties. Now, as Kabila Vijan, there's a document I'm working on. We are having our own political party come the next election.
That's it.
And it's so sad that I'm seeing so many youths in DCP party, so many youths in UDA party, so many youths in Jubilee party are being used again the same way we were being used in the previous election to build these political parties. But I'm 100% sure they're not going even to get these certificates to vie. There is a political party that you're in communication with that has been formed. Initially, we had a plan of having a Kabila la Vijana political party, but already there is a process that we are undertaking of registering a political party that in fact has candidates in these by-elections.
Yes.
The moment we have an agreement, we'll have an agreement, we'll draft an agreement with the political party, then we bring all youths into this political party that we are going to use to support our youths to vie in different in different positions with the lesser fee. You know, you don't expect a youth who has never worked anywhere, who has got an ambition, who is ambitious to be a leader somewhere, to get 250,000 to pay for a nomination slot,
yes,
for a ticket. You don't expect these people to get $500,000. So we are trying to come up with a plan on how to get these youths. As much as I know, the matters with the youth in politics will be a topic forever and forever if someone does not come up and get a solution to this. And I want to urge all youths nationwide, let us not be our own enemies.
That's it.
We had a very young man by the name Morara Kebaso who was fought by the same youths, and in fact he left his political party.
Absolutely, and abandoned politics.
So let us come together as youths, let us support one another.
That's it, pretty much. Gentlemen, there's a promise that I want you to make to us. All the conversations that we've had this morning, they're going to be put into proper perspective tomorrow. In fact, by around 5 p.m., we should be seeing what those patterns you've been talking about here are going to be. Now, I made a promise to our audience that come next week, Monday, we'll sit down here and now talk about...
Let me give you a prediction.
Yes. 45 seconds.
Yeah,
15 seconds, actually. 15 seconds.
Yes. North Mbere, UDA. Malava, UDA. I think these people only win in Narok East. ODM in Kaspul, Magarini, ODM.
Yes.
Let's meet tomorrow, we look at that.
That's it. Guess what? I'll actually pull those videos that we've had these conversations here, and every other person who's going to join us Monday has also come here and met that declaration. So once you come in Monday, we sit down here, we look at that pattern, and then say, gentlemen, what is going to happen in 2027? Because we said that by-election is actually a precursor to the 2027 general elections.
Can I say something about the Kenya Young Taxis?
If you can do it in 10 seconds, because we're getting put to step out.
Okay, generally, people still don't understand what Kenya Young Taxis is. These are political movement profiling young Kenyans for political governance, mentorship, and leadership. That is what we're actually doing.
That's it.
So you'll find that majority of the people who really want to be able to vie for the political seats, we are here for you.
Fantastic. Yeah. We talk about that more again next week. It's a good thing that Mr. Mumbo is officially now part of the Look Up community. Mabuya has been part of it. I don't know why we lost each other, but it's a good thing. We're now back in touch. Guess what? I will see you personally on this conversation on what is going to happen on the by-elections tomorrow, Monday. We sit here. All those sides that have met those declarations, I've had members of ODM who've sat here and said that UDA is not going to win any seat in the upcoming by-elections. We'll be here Monday. And this gentleman who've stayed here and actually said, no, Mbeere North is going directly to UDA. Guess what? They will sit here and make those declarations and promises down to paper. We step out. I'll see you Monday myself for another conversation. Good morning and goodbye.